Some 50 years ago, a message was sent into space. It was a print. It's not a masterpiece, but the drawing neatly shows a man and a woman who live on an insignificant planet near a tiny star in our little galaxy. Here's another etching, by Rembrandt. A man and a woman again, and a child, in some dirty stable. It's the original copper plate, the very single one we have in the Rex. I get excited about microscopic details, like in really huge close-ups. When I see beautiful pixels like that, I would want to just dive in, right into the fibers of the paper. More than often, sadly, digital images are lacking in quality, and that's especially troublesome when it comes to prints. Here's the copy from the Louvre. Prints just back for more pixels. The Rijksmuseum's copy, much better. And this one, well, this one doesn't exist. It's virtual, a derivative, fabricated using digital techniques. My research is about virtual restoration. The goal is to reconstruct prints using digitizations of their impressions. Still just a proof of concept, but do have a look at the prototype. Now, does digital resolution matter? Why would we want to enhance those images anyway? After all, it's the physical objects, that is the impressions on real paper that matter, don't they? Sure, but they're intrinsically also redundant. Bear with me. Prints are unique precisely because they're not unique. Prints embody the very idea of multiplication. In IT, we do backups to make sure information doesn't get lost. Redundancy is key in our strategy. The more backups in different places, the better. A single impression is just one copy, but collected from across the world, they form a robust backup of the printed image itself. If we align them pixel by pixel, then all of a sudden we get something very deep. A multimodal hyperdimensional image cube, which is a great fit for data science. We can now retrieve the surface of the original matrix. In other words, reconstruct the printing block or plate itself just from a pile of impressions that once were printed from it. And then we can print new ones, high-fidelity replicas like the one I did for Dürer's famous rhinoceros. That copper plate we have in the Rex, did you know in the 1920s all of the 78 original Rembrandt copper plates that have been preserved were offered to the Rijksmuseum for free? Guess what? They didn't want them. Back then it was thought that these plates would harm Rembrandt's reputation. It is still believed that earlier states of a print are of better quality than later impressions. Print scholars usually don't like restrikes, because they're not original. But let me tell you, computers see things differently. Once we can compare each and every surviving copy in a hyperdimensional pixel space, our point of view changes. Using computer vision, we can see through dense cross-hatching and study the artist's very drawing at previously unseen levels of detail, and identify, for example, individual lines, and count them, which could lead to some quite exciting new discoveries. For instance, this little woodcut, is it Rembrandt's? Who will tell? Do you know the Jan Levens? Rembrandt is much more famous, isn't he? And yet, Rembrandt copied Levens. Which one do you prefer? Computers really don't care, but they're very good at showing that Rembrandt did, well, like almost a forgery. Now what about this? I am very curious to learn if we could train a machine to become an expert Rembrandt connoisseur and help us out with some still disputed attributions. Don't get me wrong, man still remains the measure of all things. I find the human mind something of divine beauty. I also believe that scholarship, art and science are expressions of the same human ingenuity. We have always created instruments to empower our vision. Now we have begun to explore new kinds of machines. Artificial intelligence is exciting because it's inspired by the blueprint of our very brain. Imagine, when everything down here goes down the drain, then that pioneer vessel in outer space, it will be everything that will be ever left. As a kid, I looked up through the telescope. Now I'm doing conservation science and love microscopic things. You know that quote by the philosopher Kant? The starry heavens above us and the meaning of life in the details within us? Somewhere 12 billion kilometers from Earth, a modern Adam and Eve are floating about. The line drawing in which they are dressed is a bit bare. Here is my proposal. Let's do Rembrandt replicas. We can have brand new copper plates at the Rex after all. Better even, pandemics, politics, climate change and all that, let's put these replicas into space. So there's at least a few nice backups of us. Yes, let's call Houston. We have a problem. But behold, here is a print. Let's send a true Rembrandt into extragalactic space. Let he show who we humans are, what we believe in, and what makes our species great and worthwhile.